Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful day today. I hope you guys are having an amazing morning because I am. It's beautiful outside, and we got a lot to talk about today. So let's jump right in. Let's really just start chatting. We got delayed pent up demand. What the hell does that even mean? Delayed pent up demand. That is what we are seeing and what is going to be happening and affecting and impacting us over this next few months in the spring and summer. So, do me a favor if you are online and you can chat in and tell me delayed pent up demand and how that's going to affect you. And we're going to start jumping right in and share here and let's roll. And make sure I got the right one. I'm sorry. Yep, there we go. Good. So delayed pent up, just put a buyer under contract. That is right. So let's talk about this. Delayed demand, delayed pent up demand. What is this and what does this mean for us? Because regardless of what's going on, regardless of what you're seeing with the news, with the headlines, there is a ton of delayed pent up demand on the buyer side and on the seller side. And let me just explain it to you and we'll walk right through it. It'll make perfect sense as to why, no matter what's going on, we are going to see an increase and an impact on the market. We are going to see an increase in impact. So it goes delayed demand. That doesn't make any sense. So wait, they're waiting and there's demand, but it's pent up. But why don't they just do it now? Because it's been delayed for the. I don't even get it. So let's just look at what the facts say. The facts say in 2024 and 2025, we had the lowest number, the lowest amount of resale homes since 2008. 2 years in a row of 2008 type numbers. In 2008, we had about 3.91, 3.92 million home sales, resales. In 2024 and 2025, we had 4 million resales, 4 million resales, 2 years back to back. That means that in a global real estate recession, we had 3.91 million real estate sales. And in 24 and 25, we had 4 million, like nearly the same, very, very similar. So we basically saw the 2 years of a real estate recessionary activity because home sales were so low and inventory started to spike. We have to understand that at the peak of 2020, the number of home sales that we experienced was 6 million home sales. 6 million to 4 million in 1 year is a huge drop. And then just think about it. In 2025, at the peak, there was 7 million home sales. So when we start looking at what is the average, I mean, when you look at the average between 2009 and 2020, it's hovering right around 5.5 million, sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little lower. 2020 was 6 million, 6.1 million, hovering up and down right around there in 2020 and 2021. So that means if the average number of home sales is, let's just be conservative, of 5.5 million home sales. And we saw 2 years of 4 million home sales. That means that we have 3 million home sales short of our average. But that's not the only thing that happens. Well, I say it's nearly 2 million because on the high end, it's going to be 2 million per year, which is 4 million people that did not buy a home. So 3 to 4 million people that did not buy a home. These are first time home buyers. These are for new sale buyers, brand new construction buyers. These are move up sellers selling their home, buying another one. That's two sales in one fell swoop. Then these are home sellers that are downsizing. This is all of those statistics of people that are buying or selling homes, number of home sales that are happening. So if we had that many people that delayed and did not buy or sell a home in 2024, that means there are about 3 to 4 million people on the sidelines still right now that have been holding off for 2 years, waiting for the right moment to do that. But hold on a second. Let's look at what happened in 2024 and 2025. Look at what the number of listings were. This is just the spring of 2024 and 2025 in the Tampa Bay area. From 2021, there was only 3,000 listings in the month of May. 22, there was only 5,000 listings in the month of May. 23, there was only 8,000 listings in the month of May. But look what happened in 2024 and 2025. We jumped and nearly doubled to 15,000 listings in the Tampa Bay area in 1 month, in the month of May of 24, and then 20,000 in the month of May of 2025. What does that tell you? That was 2025 in May, that spring, March, April, May time was the highest number of new listings to hit the market during this time of year ever recorded. They've not seen that many new listings come on the market ever before. So that just means that the demand wasn't really pent up. They were trying to sell in 24 and 25, but buyers weren't buying. So the home sellers wanted to sell and go buy a home. The home buyers were just kind of holding off a little bit. So a portion of the demand was pent up, but the other portion was wanting to make it happen and wanting to generate the sale because they want to sell their home. So this just shows me that regardless of what's going on in the market, the sellers want to put their home on the market and want to sell their home. We're just waiting for the right buyers. And what we've seen over the last 8 months is a shift in interest rates that's generated the activity of buyers. And even though they've spiked, I'll show you in just a minute, it does not impact the number of buyers that you would expect they would. So pair the highest number of listings, which is the number of sellers that are saying, hey, I'm tired of waiting and I'm no longer going to be pent up demand. I'm going to put my home on the market. And sellers that had 2 years to realize that maybe their price wasn't realistic. Maybe they're not going to get that number. And maybe we're just tired of waiting. Let's get real and let's put it on the market, because that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the new homes on the market in the last 30 days, 60 days. They're selling. They're selling quick. They're selling in a week, 2 weeks, 30 days. They're not taking 150, 180 days because they got real on price. We have realistic sellers who understand, and we have smart agents who are conversing and having conversations with them, telling them what it takes to sell their home. So pair the lowest number of resales over 2 years with the highest number of delisted homes, meaning sellers that wanted to sell their home. We have so much delayed, pent up demand that it is bound to break through, and we're already seeing those signs of it starting to break through. So we have right now a recipe for a spring selling surge, regardless of what's going on with interest rates. You do realize that the average interest rate over the last 30 years is 6.5%. Between 6.2 and 6.5% is the average rate over the last 30 years. And we're at 6.4. We're average. We're right there. And I think that the buyers realize it. I think that the sellers realize it. And I know that the agents know it. Well, let's just be clear. Not all the agents know it. Not all agents are created equal. I talk to agents every day. Not our agents, but most agents that I'm talking about in a recruiting fashion, having conversations about their business. And they say, well, you know the market. It's been a really tough market. You know how it is. You know how the home, sellers are unrealistic, and, they just can't get their numbers, so they're not going to sell. And, the buyers are just fed up with the interest rates, and affordability is a big issue. I'm seeing it all the time. So let me ask you a question. If that is the case, you're perfectly fine to think that way. I completely understand why you would think that way when you focus on what you're focused on. But let's look at this simple number right here. If sellers aren't realistic, why is there 10,555 new listings just in Stellar MLS in the last 7 days? Just Stellar MLS in the state of Florida. That's it, 10,555 in the last 7 days. And if buyers are afraid of interest rates and aren't willing to pay the interest rates the way they are, why are there 8,326 properties going under contract in the last 7 days just in Stellar MLS? And then if their buyers aren't being realistic on price and sellers aren't realistic with what they're going to get, why are they going under contract? And then why are they selling to the tune of 6,223 in the last 7 days just in Stellar MLS? Come on, guys, let's get out of our own way. The buyers want to buy 8,400 of them in the last 7 days just in Stellar MLS. The sellers want to sell the 10,555 that went on market in the last 7 days, and they're able to come to terms that go under contract and eventually close to the tune of 6,223. And this number is going to increase over the next 30 days because there's been more pendings in the last 30 to 60 days, and the solds are retroactive. That's what's going on around us. We have a recipe for that. And this is why I talked about this yesterday. We just need to get this in our head. Really, really focus on what is going on. The average 30-year mortgage is about 6.4%. But I just talked to a lender yesterday who said that he's writing FHA between 5.5 and 6. Some of them 5.2, 5.3, and some of them have points, and some of them have buy downs, and they structure it differently. But they're writing in FHA VA in a 5.5, sometimes a little lower, 5.5 to 6. Your builders, your new construction builders are giving loans at 3.99%. They'll do special financing. We just heard yesterday a down payment assistance program. They will grant the 3.5% down payment, and it's a 5.87% interest rate, and they will give the FHA down payment that's forgivable over 5 years. It's a pretty amazing program that they have. You can find anything that you're looking for. Seek and ye shall find. Whatever you're looking for, your brain will find it. That's how the subconscious mind works. But if we have an average interest rate of 6.4, let's just do this in layman terms, very simple. On the average home price, which is around $400,000, if you did a $400,000 loan at 5.99%, your payment is about $2,396, $2,400 a month. If you did a $400,000 loan currently today at 6.4, you would be at $2,500 a month. It's a $106 a month difference. Tell me, who is not buying a house because of a $100 difference? Some of the times what I'm telling a buyer is when we're in negotiations and we're just not quite there yet, maybe we're $10,000 or $20,000 off. I'm telling a buyer, Mr. Buyer, let's really focus on this, right? Let's look at this. In this scenario, a buyer has $16,000 less in purchasing power, meaning he can only buy the $486,000 home, not the $500,000 home. We'll talk about that in a second. But in most scenarios, when I'm negotiating and talking with a buyer about what it really means, is that Mr. Buyer, it's really not $10,000. You're not paying $10,000 more for the home. You're really not. What you're really paying is about $60 more a month for that home. That's really what it works out to, between $55 and $60 more per month for the home, all because you paid $490 instead of $480. So you're really not paying $10,000. And how many years of paying $60 a month would it take you to actually pay $10,000 more for that home? How many years would it take? I mean, 10 years, you're going to pay $600. In 20 years, you'll pay $1,200. So at $60 a month in 10 years, it's $600 more per month, $600 that you've paid for this home. So it would take you 20 years to actually pay $1,200 more. I mean, it's crazy. You're never going to pay the $10,000 more per month or $10,000 more for that home. It's $60 per month. So when we start looking at how does this really impact buyers and sellers, we need to focus on just being aware of what it really means. It's not a 6.4% interest rate. It's a $2,500 payment instead of $2,400. Let's really shift the basis point. Make sure buyers understand what they're doing and what they're getting into. $100 a month. Is it really going to stop a buyer? And if it really came down to it, does it make sense if the buyer was qualified for 500 and now the home is 500, but now he's only qualified for 484,000? Do you think your lender can strategize to get them the right combination of closing cost credits, rate buy downs, interest rate to get them qualified for the $500,000 home? Do we offer 500 and get credits back to make sure we get that payment right? Does it make more sense to do it that way than offering 484 without any credits? Most of the time, yes, it makes sense to offer the higher number, get the credit, and your payment will be lower. And they're qualifying the buyer on payment. They're not qualifying the buyer on the purchase price. The actual qualification is on the payment. So if we can get them to the right payment and we can get them to the right comfortability of making that payment, because, hey, Is it worth paying $50 more a month, $60 more a month, $100 more a month? Would you be mad, Mr. Buyer, if you woke up tomorrow and you realized that if all you had to do was pay $100 more per month and you would have had the home of your dreams? Would you be pissed off, angry, frustrated, mad, and regretful if you weren't willing to pay $100 more a month to get the home that you love, your family loves, your kids are going to enjoy, that you're going to be in for the next 10 to 15 years, and get your kids in the right school, drive five minutes to work instead of 30 minutes to work, have more time with your kids? Would you be regretful if you weren't willing to pay $100 more a month to have that? That's the conversation that needs to be had. It's not about the $500,000. It's not about the 6.4% interest rate. It's about their payment. Everything is about their affordability and their ability to make the payments. And if we shift the basis point and get them into that right motivating factors and talk about those things, we're going to get there. Comments: sellers are going to sell either sellers are going to either sell or buy high, or vice versa. So embrace lower sales price and rejoice in buying right. 100%. Look, is it smarter to wait to buy your home? Is it smarter to wait to list your home because your home will be worth more? Well, I mean, actually what happens is you end up making an even trade. You make $20,000 more on your home sale when you sell, but you pay $20,000 more when you buy. I have more negotiating power now. Let me put your home on the market. Let's price it right. Let's get the right number. And even if we get 10 to 20,000 less than what you really wanted, when we go negotiate, that just gives me more power, because I know if numbers are down here, I can offer down here, get credits, buy rates down, make the payment what you want, and offset that 10 to $20,000, because the 10 to $20,000 you were going to put down is a difference. $10 to $20,000 putting down is a difference of around $60 to $120 a month. So if I can get you a credit to buy the rate down to make your payment lower by $100 to $160 to $120 a month, would that make sense, Mr. Seller? Do you really need the extra 20 grand if I'm able to negotiate it with a credit and a rate buy down and a lower price on the home that we buy? It's an even trade. You're going to sell for more, pay more. You're going to sell for less, pay less. And when we pay less, I have more negotiating power, and I can get you more credits, and I can get it even better for you. So that's really what we're looking at. That's where our focus needs to be going. There is delayed pent up demand, and it is there. Home sellers tried to sell, the highest number of home sellers tried to sell for the last 2 years in a row. They tried to sell. Look at these numbers. They tried and they couldn't and they didn't. And that doesn't mean that they need to get that number. It just means they were unrealistic about it or weren't motivated enough. But now they're probably going to be motivated because there's a lot more options for them as buyers. More properties coming on the market. So now they're getting more motivated. They can make the right decision, make a different decision. So that's the main focus of today. We're going to jump over to some other topics. We're going to talk about some success principles, just different thoughts and words to live by, just to try to help shift and mold your mind into the right direction, right? So let's just really focus on these things and really take them in and understand them for what they really are. Look, you don't need, first statement, you don't need a new strategy. This is just a simple principle. You don't need a new strategy. You just need to talk to more people. In this business, that is what it is all about. You don't need a new strategy. You don't need a magic pill. You don't need to change what you're doing. You need to talk to more people. It's not that you need to, well, I need to do more open houses, less open houses. I need to do this different strategy. I need to have more networking events. No, you need to talk to more people. Bottom line, where are you going to talk to people? If you have not talked to your sphere, talk to your sphere. If you have past clients and you haven't talked to them, talk to them. If you haven't gone into your neighborhood and talked to your neighbors, talk to your neighbors. If you haven't called expired listings, call expired listings. If you haven't started farming and knocking on doors, start farming and knocking on doors. There's so many places to talk to people. We just need to have more conversations. It's not about this new strategy, magic pill. This is going to change it. Talk to more people. Now's the time to do it. There's tons of people that need to hear from you. And we're hearing every single day from different agents how they neglected somebody in their sphere or their past clients, and they ended up putting their property on the market and they ended up listing with somebody else, and it's already under contract. We need to understand that. Here's another one for you. A year isn't 365 days. It's 52 chances, 12 chapters, and 4 seasons. 1 year of intention can undo 10 years of drifting. If you've been spending the last 10 years, 5 years, 3 years just drifting, all we need to do is create some new intentions. Create some new intentions, because from new intentions create new emotions. New emotions create new habits. We need to identify the loops and patterns that have gotten us to where we are, identify the ones that have served us and the ones that are no longer serving us, that are keeping us where we're at. And you have 52 chances. Every week is a new chance. 12 chapters every single month. We can engage and say, I'm going to commit to this for 30 days. 4 seasons of 90 days, mastering something for 90 days at a time and just going all in at it. With clear, focused intention, you will undo all of the challenges, all of the drifting, all of the issues that you've had over the last 5 to 10 years with a clear, focused mind and clear, focused intentions. Here's another success principle for you. You are already extremely and incredibly successful at something. But because it's easy for you and natural for you, you don't think it's a skill, or you don't find it valuable because it's something that's just easy and natural that you do all the time. Success leaves clues. Let's find those things, remind ourselves of the things we are skillful at, the things that we are extremely successful at, the things we've been great at. Remind ourselves of those things. Remind ourselves of everything that we have that's a strength for us, that we can compound on top of each other, because we should be stacking our certainties and our successes and not our doubts. Too many times we lean into our doubts and we start stacking the I don't knows, the I'm not sures, and what ifs. We should be stacking the certainties and the successes and the extremely good at things that we are. That's what we should be stacking. Now, another success principle: comfort is the most expensive drug. Comfort, it actually acts like a drug. When you get into a comfort zone, you are actually releasing hormones that make your body feel less stressed and feel more comfortable. Comfort is an expensive drug. They say the comfort zone is where your dreams go to die. No, that's where growth goes to slow down. If you want an opportunity to more, we need to start stepping outside of our comfort zone, challenging ourselves to do little bit more. That's why I said you have 52 chances, 12 chapters, and 4 seasons to step outside of your comfort zone on a daily basis, to try something new, do something different, and try to be and show up as the person that you are becoming and want to become. I love this one. I mean, this is just so profound, but just also really awesome. It goes, the ironic tragedy is that life has to be lived forward, but only makes sense in reverse. Hindsight is 2020, right? We can look at things through hindsight and look back, and everything makes perfect sense. We can see how life completely aligned up to get us where we are and do everything that we needed to do, and we could see it all makes perfect sense. But when you're standing in the moment looking forward, you can't see it sometimes. It's hard. That's why I say a lot of times we need to become the creator of our life, because you're never going to be able to see clearly, but we can create clearly. We can create the intention. We can create the action. We can create the outcome. We can create the emotions of the person that we want to be. And that's how we end up living forward in creation rather than living forward managing circumstances. Moving on. You become what you repeat. Your life is shaped by your habits, not your goals. That doesn't mean that goals aren't important, because goals are the things that create motive, that create reasons, that create purpose, but you're ultimately shaped by your habits. Your goals will help shape your intentions and emotions and shape your habits, but your life is shaped by your habits. If you are not getting the outcomes you want in one area of your life, look for that trigger and that loop that is a constant. That is what's keeping you where you are. That is what's keeping you in the place that you're at. If we can find that, don't focus on the procrastination. Don't focus on the thing that you're doing that's not creating the outcome that you want. Focus on the trigger that's creating it, and focus on the loop that you are doing. Okay, don't focus on the fear. Let's focus on the loop. How did I do this? What am I trying to avoid? Am I trying to avoid something? Am I trying to create comfort? But we become what we repeat. Your life is shaped by your habits, not by your goals. Fear often disguises itself as logic and responsibility. We've all been in a moment, right? Where we sit down and we're getting fearful, but the drunk monkey, this is the main job of the drunk monkey. See, I mean, look, do you really need to talk to all these people? I mean, we were selling some homes. I mean, we were making some money. I mean, logically, our bills were paid. You had food. You have a roof over your head. I understand it wasn't completely comfortable, but is calling all those people going to be really comfortable too? No. How many people are going to reject you? We start making these logical arguments to keep ourselves in our fear because our fear keeps us safe, not successful, keeps us safe. So we start using these responsible arguments and logical arguments to keep us in this place. Just remember this: if your reasons keep you safe but miserable, it's not wisdom, it's fear. If all of your excuses and reasons and everything you're telling yourself is keeping you in the same place and safe, and that safe place is a miserable place, it's not wisdom, it's not logic, it's not responsibility, it's fear. I love this one too. So simple. Sometimes when you're in that dark place and you feel like you've been buried, you've actually been planted. And again, when we're living life forward and we're looking forward and we're in this dark place, it's hard to see that. But afterwards, once we get through it, we can look back and we can say, God, I can see in that moment how, yeah, I wasn't actually buried. They planted me. I grew stronger roots. I was able to flourish. I was able to thrive. I was able to create more and be more. This one is probably one of the strongest statements that we can think of and that we can hear and we can see for ourselves. When the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of changing, that's when change will happen. That is the moment that change will happen. When you can no longer live the way that you're living. I will no longer be this person. I will not do it. I will not live this way anymore. I must change. I can't stand this anymore. When the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of taking the steps to change and going through the change, only then will your change happen. The cost of never taking risk is spending the rest of your life wishing you had. Regret. Would you rather have the pain of discipline or the pain of regret? This is from a yogi. Life is just situations. We, as individuals, make them problems or possibilities. There's nothing inherently bad or good about any situation if you can look at it. The situation is, it just is. This is a situation. It's up to us to define it. The only thing that creates that meaning for what happened is our mind. We create the meaning. That's why the same thing can happen and two people can experience that same thing. One of them comes out saying it was the worst experience ever. The other comes out and says, oh my God, that just opened my eyes so much and it changed my life. Because the situation wasn't anything other than just the situation. It just is this situation. We made it a problem or a possibility by how we created the moment, how we reacted to it, how we focused on it. Let's go one last one. Stop taking directions from people who have never been to places that you want to go. God, we start listening. We listen to everybody. We hear our parents telling us, don't do this, don't do that. Our friends telling us, don't do this, don't do that. People from outside, just random people we have conversations. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that. Stop taking directions from people who have never been to the place that we're trying to go. I'm not going to listen to somebody if they've never been there, never driven there, and they start making stuff up, man. Come on. Come on. All right, guys. Today is Wednesday, April 8th. It's a beautiful day outside. It is time to start making those conversations. Let's start having those conversations. More conversations. You don't need a new strategy. You need to have more conversations, create more contacts. That's what this business is all about. Let's make it happen. If you need anything, we are always available for you. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.